Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young couple who longed for the happiness of having a child. Their wish was granted by God, and soon the young lady found out she was expecting a baby. At first, everything seemed perfect. However, as time went by, the young lady developed an unusual craving. She desired turnips. But alas, turnips were not in season, and none could be found in the nearby markets. Despite searching every corner of the town, the devoted husband couldn't find any turnips for his beloved wife. Next to their house, there lived a powerful witch with a magnificent garden where all sorts of fruits and vegetables grew, including the coveted turnips. Every day the young lady would gaze longingly at the garden, craving the juicy red turnips. Driven by his love for his wife, the husband decided to trespass into the witch's garden to satisfy her cravings. Under the cover of darkness, he sneaked into the garden, gathered a basketful of turnips, and hurried back home. His wife rejoiced at the sight of the turnips and devoured them eagerly. But the turnips possessed a magical quality. They only intensified her craving. Desperate to please his wife, the husband continued to sneak into the garden every night to fetch more turnips. However, the witch eventually caught him in the act. She confronted him, accusing him of theft, but the husband pleaded with her, explaining his wife's insatiable craving. The witch, aware of the situation, made a sinister proposition. She offered to provide turnips whenever needed, but in exchange, she demanded the couple's unborn child. Fearing for his wife's life, the husband reluctantly agreed. Months passed, and the couple welcomed a beautiful baby girl into the world. However, their joy was short-lived, as the witch appeared to claim the child as her own. She named the baby Rapunzel, after the turnips her mother had craved. Rapunzel grew up under the witch's care, isolated from the outside world in a tall tower hidden deep within the forest. The tower had no stairs or doors, only a single small window at the top. The witch would visit Rapunzel daily, calling out to her to let down her long braided hair so she could climb up. As Rapunzel blossomed into a young woman, the witch grew increasingly paranoid about her safety. She feared that if Rapunzel encountered a man, she would leave the tower forever. So, she locked Rapunzel in the tower, keeping her hidden from the world. One day, a handsome prince ventured into the forest and heard Rapunzel's enchanting voice. Intrigued, he followed the sound until he stumbled upon the tower. Mesmerized by Rapunzel's beauty, the prince visited the tower every day, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. Meanwhile, Rapunzel longed to escape the confines of her tower and explore the world below. She dreamed of meeting someone who would whisk her away from her lonely prison. One fateful night, as the prince approached the tower, he witnessed the witch waiting below. Sensing danger, he disguised his voice and called out to Rapunzel, asking her to let down her hair. With Rapunzel's help, the prince climbed up to the tower. When Rapunzel saw the prince, she was initially frightened, but soon grew to trust him. They spent time together, sharing stories and dreams. Over time, they fell deeply in love. Determined to free Rapunzel from the witch's clutches, the prince devised a plan to create a ladder to the tower. Each day he brought pieces of fabric, which Rapunzel braided into a sturdy rope. However, their plans were thwarted when the witch discovered their scheme. Enraged, she cut off Rapunzel's beautiful hair and banished her to a desert far away. Alone and heartbroken, Rapunzel wandered the desert, singing sad songs of longing and despair. Meanwhile, the prince searched tirelessly for her, driven by his love and determination to find her. Finally, their paths crossed in the desert, and they were reunited at last. The prince's tears of joy fell upon Rapunzel's eyes, miraculously restoring his sight. With the witch's spell broken, Rapunzel and the prince returned to the kingdom, where they were married in a grand ceremony. They ruled the kingdom together with wisdom and compassion, living happily ever after.